If your home's been on the market in Decatur, Alabama, and it's not moving, you're probably asking the same question a lot of sellers are asking right now. Why is my house not selling? I'm Clint Peters. I've lived here in North Alabama for almost 50 years, and I've been selling real estate here in this area for the last 8 of them. As of spring 2026, here in Decatur, homes are going to average around 42 days on market. So if your house feels stuck, you're not imagining it, really. The market is kind of backing you up. Most sellers do not find out what buyers are actually thinking about until their really best window for selling their house has already passed. And I'm going to say this up front. Sometimes your house is not really the problem. There are 7 specific reasons why your home might get stuck in this market. And I'm going to walk you through every one of them, including a couple most agents probably won't bring up because it's pretty uncomfortable. So here's what's actually keeping homes on the market in Decatur and other parts of North Alabama right now. First up, curb appeal. Not only just your curb appeal, but really your neighbor's curb appeal as well. So let's start on the outside, because that's where buyers are going to actually start as soon as they pull into your neighborhood and as soon as they pull up to your house. Buyers decide how they feel about a house before they even get out of their car. If your lawn isn't well maintained, your trim needs some paint, or your landscaping just feels tired, you're going to lose some buyers before they ever walk in the front door. But here's the part that nobody really tells you. It's not only just your house. It's the home 2 doors down that has the falling down fence or a yard that hasn't been mowed in a month. Buyers absorb all of that. They don't really separate this house from the entire street. You can't control your neighbor's yard, but you should know that it's going to be part of the equation. And sometimes it means you have to work a little extra harder on your own curb appeal to offset that. Next up on our list is going to be photos and your online first impression. A lot of sellers still believe that the first showing actually happens when somebody walks through the front door, but really it doesn't in today's world. The first showing happens online. If the photos aren't professionally done, or maybe they're too dark, taken at a bad angle, not enough of them, or maybe they make the rooms look super small, buyers are just going to scroll right past your house online. They're not being unfair. They're doing exactly what every listing app like Zillow trains them to do, which is to decide in about 8 seconds whether this is worth a second look or not. And once they scroll past, it's hard to get them to come back. A home can be great in person and still struggle if it doesn't show well online. That's why a professional presentation is not only optional anymore, it's one of the most important parts of listing your home for sale. I've seen 2 identical floor plans in the same neighborhood get completely different amounts of traffic. The only difference? Photo quality and presentation. But here's the thing about reasons 1 and 2. They're both fixable, usually fast, and usually fairly cheap. A weekend of yard work, a few hours with a great photographer. If your home checks both of these first boxes and it's still sitting, the answer is somewhere deeper in this list. The third issue is your overall condition and what buyers will overlook and honestly what they won't. Your condition is going to matter. And I mean the real condition of your home. The easy fix first is making sure the house is actually clean. So this doesn't mean you have to have the house professionally cleaned for each showing, but you do need to make sure the house is as clean and clutter-free as possible before showings. And along with being clean, you need to make sure that smell is not an issue for the house as well. Smoking, pets, moisture can all leave a smell. And if the buyer's overwhelmed with the smell when they first walk in the front door, that showing's not going to go well. A couple other fixable conditions are going to be some dated paint colors, bathrooms that haven't been updated since 1990. Now these will cost you some money or some time, but they are solvable. And solving them usually means, thank goodness, it's going to pay for itself when you get that final sales price. The next condition is honestly not going to be really easy to fix. A layout that doesn't work, a primary bedroom on the wrong floor, kitchen that's cut off from the main living areas, a lot that's going to flood on you, or something buyers just don't love. You can't easily renovate your way out of a bad floor plan or small room sizes. When a home has smells, deferred maintenance, old flooring, outdated bathrooms, and a difficult layout, or just a general sense that it hasn't been updated in a while, buyers start subtracting money in their head immediately. And that's the part that sellers don't always see. They may be thinking, well, this house is livable. My family's lived here for years. The buyer's thinking, yes, but I'm going to have to spend money the second I move in here. That gap between those two matters. If the condition doesn't line up with the price, the market was going to tell you this pretty quickly. And honestly, majority of buyers right now, they want to move into a house that they don't have to renovate or repair. The number of people looking to tackle a huge renovation project is not very high in today's market. So this is where a lot of sellers are going to get surprised. Next up on our list is something that honestly, sometimes sellers are surprised about. Competition that most sellers forgets even out there. Because your competition is not always just the house down the street or a couple blocks over. North Alabama has a lot of relocation buyers right now. People moving in for jobs at Redstone Arsenal, Toyota Mazda, you name it. So here's what that means for you. Those buyers aren't necessarily comparing your house to another house in Decatur, let's say. They're often choosing between Decatur, Athens, Madison, and Huntsville all at the same time, because for a lot of them, the city isn't decided yet. Only the commute radius is. So what that means is your real competition might be a similar home in Madison with a shorter drive to Redstone, or a comparable listing in Athens at a slightly lower price. You're not just competing with your neighborhood anymore. You're being compared to a much, much wider area in North Alabama. So yes, your house is competing locally, but it may also be competing against homes in other parts of North Alabama that feel like a lot better fit or better value to that buyer. And honestly, that wider range of competition really changes the conversation, because now it's not just what is my house worth in Decatur, it's also what else can the buyer get with this budget in North Alabama. New construction nearby is quietly pulling buyers away from resale homes like yours. There's an active subdivision being built near you, or maybe you live in a subdivision that is still being built out. That's real competition, and it plays by different rules. Builders can also offer rate buy-downs, design incentives, brand new everything. A warranty, a layout that nobody's lived in, zero deferred maintenance. So a lot of relocation buyers specifically want that because they don't want to have somebody else's to-do list. If your home is priced like it's the only option in town, but buyers can get incentives or a brand new house somewhere else, that can really slow the process of selling your house down as well. So I'm gonna be honest with you. If this is your situation, there isn't always a quick fix. You can't necessarily out-incentivize a builder's finance arm. What you can control is making sure your price and your terms account for that competition. So we talked about a couple of issues that you can hopefully fix and things you need to take into account. But the one thing you need to make sure that you're doing with your house is making sure it's not difficult to show. Sometimes a home doesn't sell because it's too hard to see. If a buyer needs 24-hour notice or your showing window is only 2 to 3 hour blocks a week, you're gonna be losing people. Right now, a lot of people looking to buy in Decatur, Athens, Madison, they're gonna be touring 5 or 6 homes in a single morning or afternoon with their agent. If they can't fit your home into that window because the access is too restrictive, it doesn't matter how great your house is. And a house that never gets seen can't sell. But while we're talking about making it hard to see your house, it's a good time to mention your pets as well. If at all possible, let's get them out of the house during a showing. A dog who barks the whole time can be a major distraction to buyers. I've shown homes where the pets ended up being the main thing the buyers remembered after the tour. Ease of access and distractions matter. So let's talk about the one thing that brings all of these together and where everything above we just talked about shows up. And it's pricing. This is where everything comes together. The curb appeal is weak, the photos aren't helping you, the condition needs some work, the competition is gonna be broader area-wise, and your home is kind of hard to see sometimes. All of those things need to be reflected in the price. That's what the sellers don't always wanna hear. The market isn't just pricing your square footage, it's pricing the whole experience of your home. And if your price is ahead of what buyers feel that experience is worth, the home's gonna sit. Buyers walking through aren't writing offers because their gut is telling them the math isn't working, even if they can't say it out loud. So what buyers are really thinking in their head is, this home is nice, but it's not worth what they're asking, especially when you compare it to some other things that they've already seen. And this is the conversation really where most agents avoid, because telling a seller that their price is wrong, it's awkward and difficult. But sitting on the market is way more expensive than that conversation. Every extra week is training buyers to assume something is wrong with your house, when the real issue is simply that the price hasn't caught up to the 2026 market here in North Alabama and Decatur. So if you're sitting on a stale listing right now, here's where I'd start to try to fix things. I'd start by walking your own curb appeal like a stranger would. Be honest about what's happening on your street and not just in your yard. Hey, look hard at your photos. If they're more than a year old or taken with a phone and bad lighting, that's an easy fix with real impact. Separate your condition issues into the fixable pile and the non-fixable pile because they need two different strategies. Make sure you find out who you're actually competing with right now, not just other Decatur listings, but Athens, Madison, Huntsville, and any new construction nearby. Open up your showing access as much as possible. The easier it is for somebody to get in their house, the better it is. And then, with all that off the table, take an honest look at your price. Not against what homes sold for last year. That's important, but also what's actually closing in your specific area in the last 30 days. But also take a hard look at what's currently for sale in your area, and you need to make sure you're positioning your price competitively against those that are actively on the market. One or two of these 7 reasons just landed a little close to home. That's normal. It means you have a clear next step instead of just trying to figure out what to do next. But good news is that a home isn't selling is not always a bad home. A lot of times it just needs a better strategy. If you're trying to sell a home in Decatur and it's not getting the attention you think it's warranted, I'd be glad to help you look at what the market's really saying. Put together a free stale listing checklist for Decatur, North Alabama sellers. It walks you through the main things to look for and review before you reduce the price, relist, or sit through another few weeks of silence. I'll link it in the description below. Talk soon.